Afternoon, everybody. Trevor the Aviator back here today where I am at Dallas Fort Worth Airport down in Dallas, Texas. A new airport for me and one that is not a United hub. So today I'm actually going to be flying down to Orlando, Florida, where I am going to be going on a little vacation here for the next week. But today's aircraft, I'll be on an American Airlines Airbus A321, and very shortly I'm going to go ahead and get some food, and then I'm going to begin heading my way to the gate where in about an hour or so I will be boarding for my plane down to Orlando, Florida, where I'm hoping this one can be another pretty good flight overall. So I'll see you guys when I get to the gate. While I was on a little bit of a layover here at DFW, during my time I ended up taking a look around some parts of the airport. And with this, I also took some time to do a little bit of plane spotting around the place as well while I was here. I will say this airport is absolutely huge and definitely gonna be coming back to this place again in the near future. I unfortunately did not have a lot of time here since my flight was just an hour or two after I landed, where I had to get to the gate. But for today's flight, I am at gate A37, where I will be boarding on the American Airlines Airbus A321 for a late afternoon flight down to Orlando. taking off from Dallas Fort Worth International Airport, there was just so much to see in this area, as it is really, really big. Maybe it is true that everything is bigger in Texas. We'll see about that when I visit Dallas in the near future. But I will say, after taking off, I was able to get an amazing view of the area and also eventually seeing downtown Dallas as well, which is probably one of the best views that I have gotten of a city skyline from an airplane. Probably the next best, or should I say the one that was better, was actually New York City, but this is up there as one of the best views that I have gotten. It was just so amazing to see, and it was just a spectacular day to see everything that was around the area. For the time being, the flight was overall pretty smooth, and it looked like it was going to be a pretty easy flight for the most part. But later on, things ended up changing as we got into some weather that was involved. But overall, though, as far as my seat goes for today's flight, I wasn't as big of a fan for this seat in particular, as while it does look pretty standard, I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't feel as comfortable in this seat as I was on other flights. But it could just be me though, but I did hear that this is better than the older A321 flights. After realizing about my seat, I began to look out of the window, and sure enough, we were getting ourselves into some pretty intense weather coming down the road. And sure enough, the captain ended up announcing that we were gonna be headed into some turbulence very shortly because we were nearby a big thunderstorm just to the north of our flight path. Funny enough too, right before we came near the storm was when our free food and drink came, where for this flight I had some mini pretzels followed by a cup of orange juice as well. After I enjoyed these refreshments was when the storm was starting to get way, way bigger. I will say, seeing a storm when being up in the air is completely different compared to what you see on the ground. Being up in the air, it offers you a perspective as to just how big the storm is and can give you a full scale as to how big the actual area is around with the storm that ends up occurring. And if you know what it is that you are looking for, it can just make you go in awe. And for me, who is studying aviation, I do have a little bit of knowledge in meteorology, so I kind of knew what I was looking for. And for me, I just find seeing the storm is one of the coolest things to see up in the air. But as we passed through the storm, it of course offered some amazing views of the clouds around. And I will say, with Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and the entire Gulf Coast, it literally feels like that anything can end up happening in terms of weather, where it might be really intense weather, but it can also be completely clear and nothing ends up occurring. It just depends on where you are at and the timing and everything that goes along with it. But after we got past through the storm was when it was beginning to approach sunset, and it just offered an amazing view in the Florida Peninsula as we begin to approach our way into Orlando International Airport. with our landing in Orlando, we had a big storm that happened, causing us to be in a bit of a holding pattern for a little bit. And then after we landed, for about 45 minutes, us and like 5 or 6 other planes at least were stranded on the taxiway because of the airport literally being shut down due to dangerous conditions being outside at the time that we landed. Eventually, though, it cleared up enough to the point where we could taxi and head to our gate. It did seem like a really long time, though. But overall, I will say, with my experience here on the American A321, I feel like that it could have been a better experience overall. The flight attendants, however, they were really good on here, but I felt like my seat and like in terms of how comfortable it was and stuff, I think it could have been better, as I feel like I've been on flights that have been way more comfortable than this. I don't know if that is just me, but if any of you guys did have a good experience on the A321, please let me know in the comments below. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you stick around, thank you for watching. And if you guys are interested in watching some more videos of mine, then go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, this is Trevor the Aviator from Orlando International Airport. Bye, everybody!